Kaustubha Das here with the big announcement for Wisdom of the Sages listeners. This August will be Ashram Month at the Super Soul Farm. Simple ashram living, rising early, morning kirtan, yoga and pranayama, healthy vegan and vegetarian meals, farm seva and being immersed in nature, and then gathering in the evenings for kirtan and readings. Plus, each week we'll have a lead presenter teaching a different facet of the philosophy and lifestyle of Bhakti-yoga. Week number 1 will be the exceptional Bhakti Lata teaching a course called The Beauty of Bhakti, bringing the culture of love and devotion into our lives. Week number 2 is my brother from another mother, Raghunath, teaching Falling in Love with Divinity, the Bhakti-yogi's method for opening the heart. And week number 3 is myself with a course called Following the Path, examining the history and teachings of Bhakti-yoga. You can come for 1, 2, or all 3 weeks, and the pricing is by donation. For more dates and information, go to wisdomofthesages.com/events. Peace.
Live from Gopal Chandra's house in Ghent, New York, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Monday. And this starts a big week of travel for Kaustubha and myself and Mara. And we're heading our Wisdom of the Sages team on the road to Europe. Really excited, but we had a wonderful retreat at Super Soul this weekend. So many people just contributing to the spirit of, it was a kirtan school, but there was a lot of work to be done before we left, and people were just pitching in and doing things. It's really a sweet community, and I want to say this Wisdom of the Sages community is really saving me in a lot of ways. It's been a very, very up and down year for me, and all the people here so give me a lot of strength. I'm here with Gopal Chandra and Mara, and Gopal Chandra's family, and Gopal Chandra is one of our regular listeners who's leaving his body maybe any moment, any day, and so I'm trying to spend as much time with him as I can. And I tell you, it's very, very it's like us, Prabhu. It's like what we're going through every moment, but just magnified, intensified. And, he's going through it, they've upped his pain medication. So he's sort of like in a mystic fog, but he's coherent. Krishna Kumari came over yesterday and was talking to him and singing to him and asking him about Vrindavan. And then I came and I was holding his hand and asking him, do you remember Haridwar? Do you remember the Ganges? Tell me when we went to the Ganges together. Tell me what that was like. And what do you remember about Vrindavan? Did you bow down in Vrindavan? Did you roll in the dust in Vrindavan? Anything to try to keep that vision of Krishna in his mind. And, again, it's one of those things you got to really keep him present, because I get it. I suffer in my mind as well. So you don't want the person to go back into some fear or into some fear of the future or some pain, thinking about regrets. That people who deal with end of life say this is a very common thing. So really focused, telling, we have all these beautiful pictures of Krishna. I have my deities here. I can put my deities in his hand. We have Tulsi here. We have Ganges water. All these things we used to talk about the Hare Krishna first aid kit,
Utility belt.
It's real. The utility belt. I'm putting, Radhakund Tilak on him, chanting mantras. And so I think it's at this stage, Kaustubha-ji, that it's sort of like, what do you do? It's like you get too much pain, or you can't think of Krishna, or you give him some pain reliever where you're in sort of a fog. And I have firm faith that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, no matter what the situation is. Even if someone was to hit me on the head with a stick and I fall a 2x4 and I just die on the spot, I believe that Krishna is he will enter the mind of the devotee. And there's so many auspicious signs that say this is a beautiful, perfect passing. I'm really, truthfully, yesterday in the room with him, I was incredibly inspired. And I really felt very comfortable with him, and I really felt like he was in a good place. but I really value just learning, because what it's doing is it's making all this stuff come alive. It's making all this stuff become very real. And it's making me meditate on the gravity of material existence. And there's a real gravity there. And, we try to cover up reality with a bunch of woo, let's go to party, let's woo. And that's what I really love this, because there's a deep sobriety about life, and I say gravity, I don't mean like a moroseness about material existence, that I don't feel like I'm missing out on enjoying life. I feel like I have a very enjoyable life. I'm surrounded by wonderful people. We have wonderful food. We live in the countryside. We get to travel. We get the things that but we're not sticking our head in the sand like oftentimes we claim, or we are accused of doing, by being into some spiritual path. Like, we are keeping this very real reality, this final stage of the body, at the forefront of our consciousness. And because of it, that gravity, it's like the thread that runs through everything we do. And so my whole coaching yesterday was like, this is everything that we talk about. This is everything we prepared for. We're going to, like a lady giving birth, you tolerate this pain. It's only here for a moment. And you just focus on Krishna. What does Krishna look like? Krishna is embracing you. He's waiting for you. And this whole world you're going to look back after you embrace Krishna, and you're going to see this whole existence as a dream. So it's been very it's like an emotional roller coaster where I'm in ecstasy with him, and then I'm like weeping tremendously, and then me and his family are weeping, and it's just like it's a very once again, just like the material world just puts us through this ringer of emotions, and all for our growth, all for our evolution, all for this benevolent hand that's bringing us out of our consciousness and upgrading the operating system so we can act on a higher frequency. Good morning.
All right. Amazing, Raghunath.
Yeah, so our prayers go out to Gopal Chandra today. It could be his last day today. It could be tomorrow. I'm not sure. It's an auspicious life he's led. I talked through the highlights. You went to Jagannath Puri. You met your Guru Maharaj. You got married, raised kids. You were a dharmic husband. You talk a person through their highlights. You raised kids. You were a responsible husband, responsible father, responsible son. You took initiation. You were serious about your spiritual life. You went back. You bathed in the Ganges. You contributed your seva. You remind them that they've done nothing wrong. This beautiful verse too, that Krishna, because sometimes in a person dying, they say there's also lots of regrets. Why didn't I do this? I should have done that. They say this, and I've been just reciting that verse from the Gita. Krishna carries what we have. What is it? Krishna, what do I say?
he preserves what we have.
Preserves what we have. Krishna preserves what we have and carries what we lack. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Kaustubha, but for example, suppose here I am with my spirituality is on a 51% right now. Suppose that's where I am right now. If I were to leave my body right now, do I come back at 51%? From what I understand, and I've asked this question, is there a special mercy spiritual trampoline we get for doing all the things we've done in this life, as well as the special mercy of just Lord Chaitanya, just like reaching down into the well and lifting us out? Do you stay at that? Or do we get that mercy factor, that triple coupon day, where we just where our consciousness actually evolves after we leave this frame? What's your opinion? Do you have an opinion on that?
Well, I think it's very difficult to quantify these kind of things, what to speak of quantify divine mercy.
You can't quantify that. You don't have insight into divine mercy. I thought you were Oz. Tell me, Oz, what will happen to me?
But if I want to make sure I understand your question, right? So you're saying in other words, let's say on my journey to enlightenment and spiritual liberation and release and so on, that I've gone about 50% of the way. So
Yeah.
then in my next, and if I've been practicing bhakti and cultivating attachment and love for Krishna and love for God, do I start exactly right there, or might
Yeah.
I
Like,
kind of get a boost?
yeah. You just
Yeah.
like, is it like there's no difference? You're just in a new body. There's no actual difference in your consciousness. Or do you get the fact that, hey man, you paid in the Ganges, you get like, it's like
Yeah.
shoots and ladders. Like
But
you
so,
get to
yeah. So my one of my, we hear that you start where you left off,
Mm,
but also like where we are right. You see, it's like we're a soul struggling with a conditioned mind and in a particular body. So like when that same soul with all of the spiritual, let's say, for lack of a better word, like the spiritual punya, right? The spiritual merit that it's accrued through its own efforts as well as through grace. When that same soul is placed in another body, and perhaps a body that's much less troublesome, including the mind,
yeah.
then starting where you left off, you may be where you left off, but in a body that's like, and in a mind and in a circumstance that's
Yeah.
much more advantageous.
Sure.
So it's like, I might, as I'm learning to drive, I'm
Right.
becoming a better driver,
I got you.
and I may pick up where I left off when I step into another car, but that car may be really ready to go.
Right. We're on the drive. Like that's a great analogy. I like that analogy. Like I've been on this road, I'm trying to get to LA, made it to Scranton in my VW. I die. I get into my Porsche.
Yeah,
And now I'm going to LA. I'm going the fast track.
yeah.
At a
It,
speed. I got
it,
ways. I'm gonna make this happen. I
which
get it.
really, yeah, it really makes us, when I think of those people that I really respect, I think they've really practiced well and understood life, and understood bhakti and understood yoga. You see these people that judgmental kind of mentality, they let it go because they begin to understand spirituality. They begin to understand that, you know what, I don't know always who I'm dealing with. It's like, I hate to use you as an example, Raghunath,
What?
but you're a guy that's got like this externally, like really, like, stormy life sometimes.
Stormy? You think I'm stormy?
And I didn't say you. I just said your life can be stormy. That's my point. But I think you're like a person with very deep spiritual sentiments and very deep spiritual understanding, stuck in the middle of a very stormy life, and so if someone to judge you by the stormy externals, they may not really know who you really are. If the same person was stuck in those same externals, they may be like completely lost, and somehow you're in a stormy externals, and you're like, no matter what's happening, no matter how like painful or disruptive or distracting or
Well,
wacky hijinks you may be going through in life. You somehow you're always
I
tying.
do have a lot of wacky hijinks going on.
somehow you always manage to, like, Krishna is somehow in the center of it all. It's always bringing your mind to Krishna. So like there are people sometime not so long ago, I forget when it was, it was a couple of months ago, maybe something like that. We were talking about that book by Leo Tolstoy, Father Sergius.
Oh yeah.
And to me, the theme of that book is like, we have our ideas of like I think, in his book, you might think like who's deeply religious, right? But like who's spiritually, really, advanced, and is it the priests? Is it is it the renunciates? He was a priest. He was a materialist that entered the priesthood, and then he looked at all the priests, and when he got close to him, realized these people are like as materialistic as the people that I was with back in society, right? And then so he renounced everything, and people began to recognize him, as spiritually advanced. But then he also recognized his own struggles and how much of it was a show. And even though he was being accepted as like being very high, he knew he wasn't as high as the people gave him credit for. And then later in the book, he begins to see deep spiritual advancement in the simplest people who no one would have suspected of. And I think that even Gopal Chandra is something like that. He's not like a famous devotee that leads big kirtans and
Right.
cheers to thousands of people and all that. But we're seeing that at the end, he's lost all taste for all material things, and his mind is there with Krishna. He's letting go of everything. That's a rare, out of the what to speak of humans, out of the unlimited number of living beings that are going to die within the next few days. How many are going to be there? That's very rare. It's very rare. What respect we should have for a person that's like that. And those people are walking around. We have to, it's particularly within the realm of the other yogis, really respect should be there.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like the dented can body, there's some like karmic, I don't know if this is true too. Maybe you could philosophically correct me on this one too. Is it that you get a particular body in mind that's just like, it's very problematic to be incredibly refined and advanced in this lifetime, that you just might have to, like, out of love, Krishna just like takes away this machine to give you maybe that's exactly what you said, to give you a better machine to do the work.
We never know.
I'm not talking about Copal, I'm talking about me.
But
maybe
it's like,
this body,
it's when we're born in a particular body, and when we haven't established as our purpose in life, I want to reestablish my relationship with God fully, full love, full connection. When we want to turn away from that, then we're locked into the laws of karma, and precisely according to how we've behaved and what our desires are and what merit we've accrued, either good or bad, right? Whatever positive karma or negative karma we've accrued, according to that we get a body. Like a machine, like in other words, when I say like a machine, I mean like automated, right? It's just like, okay, you decided not to kind of try to turn your life back to reconnection, then the automated system will provide for you the next body in the next circumstance.
I love that word, automate, because that's sort of what the gunas are. They're like the automated system. Krishna's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
it's like your
only
choices.
indirectly.
Yeah, of course, he's like the owner of the factory, but
right.
He's in the playground, like,
but that's right,
picking fruit and flowers with his boyfriends and girlfriends. But it's sort of like you're just like, you're making a choice, you get a result. You make a choice, you get a result in the system.
Yeah,
and you get this karmic machine. Just like when you go on the Ford.com and I want, what kind of tires you want? What size rims do you want? What color do you want? And you're just like sort of making choices that are giving you this result, and sort of we're building our body. Ever go to those websites where you build your car, build your own car? And Kaustubha was like, I've never been to those websites.
Design your own sneaker.
Yeah. Design your own on Vans.com. So it's the same thing. We're sort of building our body by our choices, and probably everything you do, from the things you eat, from the places you go, from your desires, they're all creating a new skull and hands and desires and
circumstance, right? Where you're born, and to whom you're born.
Yeah. Attachments, right?
Yeah. So that's all like automated, as long as we've decided I don't want out of the virtual reality. I'm not particularly interested in reconnecting with the root of all existence in a personal, loving way. I want to experiment in this world. Okay, then you're in the automated thing. According to your karma, you get the body, you get the circumstance. And based on that, one can, we need to be careful not to assume we can really understand someone's past by their present, right? Like, you can only take that so far, but you can understand, oh, well, that's a manifestation of good karma, of their piety in the past, and that's a manifestation of bad karma, of their lack of piety in the past. But all that being said, when you turn back to Krishna, when you say, that's what I want, that's my priority in life, that's my purpose in life, well, then you step out of it's like Krishna says, oh, hold it, what?
Hold it.
Someone's interested. I'm gonna. The owner of the factory steps into the factory and says, I'm taking particular interest in this one, and gets involved. And so then whatever we get from that point, whether it appears to be good or bad karma, right? Whether we're born in a beautiful body, with
successful,
tons of charisma,
charming,
or even we may be born, blind. We may be born in a difficult circumstance. That's all particularly engineered personally by the factory owner for our development. So like you
Got
said,
a good
like,
analogy. I got a good
okay.
analogy with this one.
All right.
Sometimes, like the owner of a very big company, they want to prime their son or daughter to take over the company. So they make their son or daughter like go through the ranks of working every job. But truthfully, they're fully protected. So it's not like you're not getting you're still going through that karmic fate. And you'll see this, people, devotees, they're still got this karma to deal with. But that so-called bad karma becomes incredible. It becomes ideal for them to work out their material issues.
That's the point.
And they're reacting differently. They're fully protected, just like the guy who's going through the ranks of in the factory. But the father or the mother, whoever's the CEO, is like, they've got a special interest in this kid, and eventually they're going to be on top no matter what. What do you think about that analogy?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
That in my repertoire?
Well, yeah, it's like you're apparently in the system, but actually there's special care being shown you. Yeah. And so someone may be like, say someone's born blind. The typical understanding of that, oh, that's due to the bad karma, something done in the previous life, gave them that reaction. But really, I mean, in one sense, all of our karma for every living being is meant for our advancement. But what to speak of in the devotee's case, it may be specifically a reason, right? Maybe I was practicing bhakti in my last life, but I was always attracted to forms, to visions and so on that just like, kept me off my path. And maybe that was a blessing in this life that I'm just hearing, and not seeing the forms of this world, So we never know, and we really can't judge, other living beings. We can discern whose association we feel will be most beneficial, and and so on, and how we relate to different living beings. But when it comes to judging people based on on karma, we need to be real careful with that. And and particularly when it comes in the realm of devotees, the Vaishnavas, the Bhakti-yogis, we really try to honor every single one.
We just don't know what people are going through. We don't know who they are, and once I invest that like condemnation, I'm acting within that material pool. It's affecting me in a much deeper way.
It's a manifestation of some insecurity in oneself,
some deeper self-hate I have. We have no clue where people are at. You know what, Prabhu? I'm sorry to do this, but I jumped over all our announcements.
We got some important announcements.
Important announcements. Very, very important announcements. Rachel stayed up all night working on the website.
Rachel and Isabel.
Isabel.
These two really went off because there's so much to do. It takes a lot to get up. We've got, I don't know exactly how many Sage groups. Sage groups launched today. Okay. Launching, it's supposed to launch hopefully by 12 p.m. noon. Online at wisdomofthesages.com/sage groups. Yeah. That you go there today at noon Eastern time, and the sage groups open up, and there's a little message from you and I, Raghunath. I don't know if you know about it.
Message from you.
We signed your name on it.
What did we say? What did we say? Something good?
You said, "Welcome to Sage Groups." And we give you some information about what it involves, what the commitment is. It's all there, kind of like on the cover page. And then when you want to go deeper into it, oh, I'm interested in this, I want to register, you click on the button, and then it's going to open up to something like nearly 40 sage groups, different sage group leaders. There's like a headshot of them, a little bit of a bio, the time of day and the day of the week that their sage group is. And if there's a theme for it, and by theme it doesn't mean that you're talking about the theme in all the weekly get-togethers, but it just means like, say there's a women's group, or there's a parenting group, where it's all parents or like that. We have as I mentioned before, we have an LGBTQ group. This time we have we got a hardcore group that Parmananda's doing.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Krishna core group, different groups like that. So today you have the opportunity.
Mara and Bobby.
Mara, you got a theme?
You got a theme?
No,
they're just like a general group. So most of the groups don't have a theme like that. Most of the groups are general, but some of them have themes. Open everyone. And so today you can go and sign up for that. This is a tremendous boost in one's spiritual life to have a connection with a nice group of people that are practicing together, sharing, get to know each other. sharing their doubts, sharing what's working in their lives, what the challenges are, having an opportunity to talk to each other, have a good hour and a half or so every week of some good connection like that, meeting some people that are into it. It's been wonderful for the people that practice it. It's like a shot in the arm for their devotional practice. So now's a chance to get in a group. The earlier you sign up, the better, because only so many people, like you may say, oh, that's the group I want to be in. But there's only about 7 people or so allowed in each group. So you can choose 1, 2, I think at least 3 groups. I'm going to suggest maybe they make it 4. Like, this is my number 1 choice, this is my second choice, third choice, fourth choice. And we'll get you in a Sage group. The groups are going to start on the week of the July 25th, so a couple weeks from now. So there'll be at least a week or so to sign up, but we encourage you to sign up early.
This is one of the most massive community building things that's going on right now. And it's really going to be some strong community stability that's going to be really life-changing.
Yeah.
Develop connections with devotees. Let's face it, that's how that's how we got into all this. We just developed connections with devotees that we could relate to, that we could trust, and it makes us want to take a step forward. So if you're getting a little serious into your bhakti path, and you want to say, you know what, I want to take this to the next level. I want to associate. There's more questions than the podcast is even delivering me. I need some like-minded people that I can relate to. This is going to be a beautiful.
This is how bhakti's
contribution,
practiced, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I see already on the chat board, Karuna saying, "Where's the link?" and someone saying, "Where do you sign up for this?" So I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it clear.
Is there an age limit?
Listen up, people. Listen up. But I want to say this: the link is wisdomofthesages.com/sage groups. But this is the point. It's not that we hope to launch this at noon today. So you may go to that link and not find anything right now. At noon today, we hope to launch it. That's when we hope to set this all off.
Is there an age limit?
Imagine
an all-kid group led by Nitai and Karuna.
That would be cool. I want to join that group.
They're just eating candy the entire time. Wait a second.
Actually, someone suggested that we have a senior group. Actually, it was Steve, I believe, that mentioned that, right? Steve, is that right? Yeah, that like for people over 50 or something. I think that's a good idea too.
Wait a second. Did you just say seniors?
Seniors, yeah,
I'm a senior citizen now.
Well, in a way you are. I mean, senior to others that are younger than you.
It's a bunch of nonsense.
So in any case,
I did get a letter in the mail from AARP
what's
inviting me to join their club.
Retired people?
I was like, how dare they?
How dare you? But in any case, we have to say this huge thanks to Rachel, to Isabel, and to Vrajvihari. These 3 have really given up. Vrajvihari, he's actually kind of like taken the leadership of all those groups, and he's going to develop things for all those group leaders where they get together regularly, where they have the opportunity to get together regularly, and even get training from people, professional counselors in different from different angles and so on, just a lot so that they can help their groups. So it's going to be a really dynamic thing. It's developing. And Vrajvihari is the perfect guy to develop it. But Isabel and Rachel have just been putting in hours and hours and hours to make sure we can get this up by today.
Hey, also Ashram Month, wisdomofthesages.com/Ashram Month. It's turned into Ashram Fortnight. We're doing 2 solid weeks. And me and Kaustubha are doing it together. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh,
Kaustubha.
Yeah.
And the 2 week, the Sandhyam, where the 2 weeks meet, happens to be Janmashtami. We're going to have a big Janmashtami festival that everybody's invited to. I don't know if that's up yet, but that's going to be up on the website immediately. So August 19th is that Janmashtami festival at the farm. Janmashtami, if you don't know, is Krishna's appearance. It's our Christmas. And it's going to be great to have everybody there. And the 2 groups will be there. One group's coming, one group's leaving. And I'm really excited to do that with you this week, Kaustubha, or that week. I just like doing stuff with you. All
right. Although I think I'm going to be the Bhakti Center for Janmashtami.
Well, we'll see you the next day then.
Yeah, I'll come up the next day.
Okay.
And by the way, some people are asking, like Danielle Thompson is asking, are these sage groups, is it only for devotees or can people new and interested apply? People that are new and interested are devotees too.
Yeah, we're all devotees. We just forgot.
But it's for people that want to practice bhakti. It's people that say, I want to practice Krishna bhakti. That if that's not your thing, then it may not be the group for you. But for people that are saying, oh, I'm listening to this, I'm learning from this, I want to put this more, I want this to come alive in my life.
Yeah.
It's a group that are for people that are interested in practicing Krishna Bhakti, then this is a group for you. You may be very new. You may be brand new. That's fine. But if that's your desire, then you're welcome to join a group.
Oh, all right. What a morning, man. What a morning. Let's get into this.
Okay.
Narayanam Namaskritya. We didn't even do our nugget.
Oh, you forgot.
Okay, we're nugget free today.
Nugget free. Okay.
Nugget free. It's Roman week this week.
That's right. I'm going to Rome today, so we're going to have Roman week.
It's going to Rome today. And maybe we're doing the podcast tomorrow, even though he might not be here.
Hopefully I'll arrive just in time to set up.
Just in time to set up. Okay, Prabhu. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Madirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesh Vabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksur Unmidatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Text 34.
Text 34?
Yeah.
Okay, Sanat Kumara, he's still laying it down, speaking to Prithu and all of the kingdom, the assembled people.
Okay. Saintly young boy. He's actually a very old man, but he's in a young boy's body. This is Sanat Kumar. Those who strongly desire to cross the ocean of nescience. That's a great one. The ocean of nescience. Right? Nescience means, right? Science means to know. Nescience means of no knowledge. Like that?
Ignorant.
Nerdy? Wordy nerdy? Put that in your cap.
Right now. Nescience.
Uh-oh. It's challenging my word
It's not a
nerdness.
challenge. It's just I wanted to further enhance it. Lacking knowledge, ignorant.
Boom! I got that one.
That's nescience.
Desire.
Yeah, nescience. Yeah.
Those who strongly desire to cross the ocean of nescience must not associate with the modes of ignorance. For hedonistic activities are the greatest obstructions to realizations of religious principles.
Now, what does hedonism mean? Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
Hedonistic, that's probably Greek. Well, it means engaging in all carnal behaviors. Eating, drinking, being merry, intoxicating yourself.
Merrymaking.
Fornication.
You're getting all biblical on us.
Okay, here it is. Definition. Here's the definition. Devoted to the pursuit of pleasure, of relating to or characterized by hedonism.
Coming from the Greek hedone, pleasure.
The tiny European island will give you. Oh wait. Oh no, forget it.
The Greek hedone. That's the origin.
A city known for its wild hedonistic nightlife. A city.
No, that's an example of how to use the word in a sentence, right? Don't get all. Oh, Mr. Big Philologist
to the pursuit of pleasure. I got it right anyway. I didn't need a stupid Merriam-Webster.
Yeah.
Think they're so smart. Yeah. So that's how.
Let's finish the verse and we'll get into it.
I did finish it.
No, we didn't quite finish it. Did you?
For hedonistic activities are the greatest obstructions to realization of the religious principles,
Dharmic
right? So this is what they call the goals of human existence: dharma, artha, kama, moksha, right? Economic development, like you get your job, you regulate your sense gratification.
First dharma, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
regulated, good behavior. Let's say, dutiful behavior.
And then your work, your regulated sense gratification, and finally liberation. So once I'm into the body as this is the source of real happiness only through my senses, it throws the GPS way off. And people, and that's why, if you've ever had a friend or a loved one who's been an addict in anything, it's the addict is like me first. I will do anything to, to stimulate my senses, my drug of choice. And so many, and you think, well, this guy's killing their body. No, he's not killing his body. He's killing everybody that loves them's body as well. Like they are plowing through relationships, wrecking families, etc. And a big part of the recovery of that is you take a deep moral inventory of all the things all the people you've hurt. That you make these amends with people, like, due to me going after my drug of choice, I've broken relationships. I've created havoc where there was peace. I've broken people's hearts. I've robbed people, etc. So once we get into this me first, my sensual hedonistic activities first, watch out, because I'm the center. And that's a big problem in the material world, where he thinks he's the center. She thinks she's the center. It's just like a bunch of people in car. It's like, it's like a smash up derby. That's what our life becomes. It doesn't become like a
remember smooth... that they used to have that. I don't think they have that anymore.
SSP smash up derby was great toy.
That was great.
Toys,
great manifestation of human civilization.
Wait a second. Are we talking about cars? Are we talking about a toy or
no? I'm talking about where they used to get in cars and just like ram.
They still have that in Chatham. That's at the Chatham Fair.
Man, you guys are so backwards up there. It's crazy.
The demolition derby. You're kidding?
They still do that.
We do everything, monster trucks, all of that, drag racing.
I mean, talk about
city folk.
Let's talk about, no, that's just pure tamaguna, Raghunath. We're all going to get in these cars, which are like machines that were, we took from the earth to create these things, hopefully to use them for some positive way. And let's smash into them. And let's take joy in watching each other smash into them until like there's only one that's left driving. That's the most absurd use of human energy I've ever heard of in my life.
I think I just put my intelligence on hold for a few hours a year, and I take the kids. My kids love it.
You actually go to that?
I go to it every year.
Oh my God. What are you doing out there?
Kaustubha, I'm serious. There's something deeply satisfying about it. But yes.
I guess maybe it can be like a release Shiva so that you actually don't have to do it yourself.
It's like that Lord Shiva type of joy, like let's wreck this
destruction.
Place.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're right.
But I will say this: when I was a little kid, also we used to go find these like cars that were just like abandoned and stuff, and we just smash them. What is it about boys? They need to do that, right? Gotta smash stuff up.
Yeah, I love it. I still do. I'm not good at maintenance or creation, but destruction I'm real good at.
That's why Lord Shiva has taken special interest in you and is protecting you.
Okay, so those who strongly cross, that's a great verse. Can't hang out with tamas too much.
Yeah.
It just wrecks our path. It throws the train right off the tracks.
Yeah, okay.
And that's why, that's why we get serious about spiritual life, a regulating of the senses. That's how we get out of tamas.
Yeah,
that's how
control you.
An addict gets out of it. But not just an addict of the gross things like a drug or drinking or sexuality, but sort of like an addict of these subtle things as well. Thought addictions. We get into thought loops, self-deprecating, self-loathing, finding fault with other people. Finding fault with other people. That's the flip side of finding fault with myself. And so we have to regulate the thoughts, even because the thoughts are making us make our next step forward. The gross things, we just got to get those out of our life just to make it to the threshold of our spiritual life.
Yeah. Okay, so we're hearing a bit about this dharma, artha, kama, moksha. In other words, it was saying that, hey, you don't have to go cold turkey in this world to make spiritual advancement. You don't have to walk away from everything, right?
Yeah, but, depends where you're cold turkeying from.
Yeah, you can regulate it, and you can live a life where you have a relatively materialistically comfortable, happy life, but you can be making spiritual advancement all along. But even you got to be careful. So the next verse is going to speak to that. Text 35.
Text 35. Out of the four principles, namely dharma, artha, kama, moksha, right? Religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Liberation has to be taken very seriously. A lot of people don't even realize that's one of the options, right? The
Well,
other
yeah, throw
three,
buildings that.
the other three are subject to destruction by the stringent laws of nature, death.
The idea is when we say dharma, artha, kama, moksha, it means that, like, let's say from the beginning of my life, it's very dharmic, like I'm trained in my youth in spiritual principles, right? And spiritual practices. And then but then at a certain stage of life, I get married. And now there's artha, right? I go out into the business world, I'm making money, right? I'm getting married.
It's
from
built
that comes,
on dharma. The marriage should be
Yeah.
built on dharma, of course.
Sure. And now from that comes kama, pleasure. I can buy things I want. Sexually, there's sexual pleasure within marriage. And there's pleasure of raising kids and the love that one shared. And so there's, within that stage of life, there's the kama and if I just walked away from all that, I might be thinking about it all the time and what I'm missing out on.
Yeah.
But the idea is that if you do all of this and simultaneously you're cultivating knowledge and detachment, then by the time you've tasted it and dealt with it, again, not tasted it wildly, but in a regulated way, then you can let it go in later life. If you're not regulated, you're not going to be able to let it go. It's going to dominate your thoughts. It's going to be just like, we see with Gopal Chandra right now. He's death is starting to tear everything away, but because his life, he was married, had children, he had money, had a job, but it was regulated. So he's able to let go of that right now and focus his mind. But if you don't regulate that, then it dominates your mind. And at the moment of death, you're sitting there wishing you could go back or feeling some strong attachments that are going to determine your next birth. Whereas like Gopal Chandra, because he did it in a regulated way with liberation, but in our bhakti, liberation means reconnection with Krishna. That's what's dominating his thoughts right now.
A side squirrel, my friend. I'd like to see a show of hands from Europeans if they've ever heard of smash up derbies, and if they even have them in Europe. I think Europe is a little bit more.
They're too refined. I think
there's a little bit more too refined. It's like a
true
American sport. Take old junk cars and crash
Why are
them
you
together.
smashing all of the cars? I don't understand.
The cars are no good.
You can hurt each other. You're wasting good car. It does not make any sense. You pay to see this? Why?
Yeah, it's a truly American sport, I think. Oh my!
Vivi has not seen it in Switzerland. Yeah, I don't think they.
That in Switzerland, it's
they
not
get those
on the
BMWs and
agenda.
Mercedes and just start like smashing into each other.
It's my old vintage Mercedes. What do? You spray paint a 0 on the door.
They're always all spray painted, aren't they?
They're always spray painted. You got various things welded to the roof. Okay.
Yeah, as if there's not enough destruction in this world. We have to
we have an event for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to take you, man. You're going to love it.
Well, you're going to have to tie me up and drag me there.
No, we won't. You won't leave. You won't leave.
Right.
Then I'm going to take you to the New Lebanon Raceway. That is really impressive. When you hear those
We
stock
got to get you
cars,
out of the country. We got to get you back in the city.
I brought
Okay.
Tarun when he was 3 years old, and he was like, "Whoa!"
Kids love it.
Kids love stock
Kids
car
love it.
races. Okay.
Oh boy. I
We
mean,
accept-
race is one thing. A smash up derby is like a whole nother level,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's passion meets ignorance. Whereas like a Sunday drive, that is sattva. We're going to use automobile analogies. Let's go for a
Okay.
Sunday drive. Let's race them. Mode of passion. Let's wreck them.
Mode of
Mode of
ignorance.
ignorance. Okay, so
There you
now
go.
we have a
Exactly
good
right.
car analogy for the gunas.
That's right.
All right. So, text 36, we accept as blessings different states of higher life, distinguishing them from lower states of life. But we should know that such distinctions exist only in relation to the interchange of the gunas.
This is exactly what we're talking about right now. Okay.
Boy. Actually, these states of life have no permanent existence, for all of them will be destroyed by the supreme controller.
So what Sanat Kumar just said was, you know what? There's the mode of ignorance, smash up derby. There's mode of passion, like racing the car.
Drag races.
There's mode of goodness, even with the mode of goodness, a nice country drive. But he's saying that, but in one sense, there's a hierarchy there. True, right?
Yeah.
But in another sense, the person that's interested in liberation and becoming free from it all, they see all of them still fit under one category, right? Like all three. How does he say it again? We accept we accept as blessings. Like I accept. Oh, it's a blessing to be situated in the mode of goodness, right?
Right.
Or here, I think specifically, and I think Prabhupada will get into this in the commentary, due to my sattvic life and cultivation of good karma, I may take a higher birth, like even a birth on a higher planet, right? Okay, that's a blessing, right? And I could distinguish that from earthly life, which is more painful and difficult, to even more like hellish existence, within the universe, and say, oh my God, that's a real manifestation of negative karma. It's due to poor decision making in the past. So we accept as blessings different states of higher life, distinguishing them from lower states of life. But we should know that such distinctions exist only in relation to the interchange of the modes of material nature. They all fit under the relative world, the world of constant change, the material realm, right? They're whether it's pleasure right now or pain, whether it's refined or crude, it's still all materialistic life. Sure. He says, so actually, these states of life have no permanent existence. For all of them, excuse me, for all of them will be destroyed by the Supreme Controller. Even that nice car on the Sunday drive.
Right? Even the nice car on the Sunday drive is going to wreck.
It's going to end up looking like a car that's just come through the Smash Up Derby eventually.
Did you ever have that toy when you were a little, SSP Smash Up Derby?
I did not, Raghunath.
Oh, man.
I did not do that.
That's such a good one.
See, maybe I was fortunate not to have ever had that.
All right, let's get on with this.
No, because this next one we should save for tomorrow. It's a really important one. There's only a few minutes left. But we could dip a bit into this commentary. Of course, Prabhupada quotes
text 36.
For text 36, Prabhupada is going to quote that famous Bhagavad Gita verse, 8:16.
I love that verse. Yeah. Abrahma.
I wonder if Karuna knows that. Does Karuna know 8:16? Abrahma bhuvana loka.
That is a great verse, people.
Doesn't know that one
Put
yet?
that one on the learning
You want to
list.
Say it, Raghu?
Me?
Yeah.
We want to read it? I'll read it when we get to it.
Well, okay.
Okay. In our material existence, we accept the higher form of life as a blessing and a lower form of life as a curse, right?
Yeah.
This distinction of higher and lower only exists as long as the different material qualities, the gunas, interact. In other words, by our good activities, we are elevated to the higher planetary systems or to a higher standard of life. Good education, beautiful body, etc. Good karma, we call it, right?
Good karma.
These are the results of pious activities. Do good, get a good result. Dharma. Similarly, by impious activities, right, inappropriate behavior, activities, we remained illiterate, get an ugly body, a poor standard of living, etc. Right? But all these different states of life are under the laws of material nature through the interaction of the goodness of the qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance. However, all these qualities will cease to act at the time of dissolution of the entire cosmic manifestation. The Lord therefore says in the Bhagavad Gita, whoop, like this one, Abrahma bhuvana loka puna avartino arjuna mam upetya konteya punar janmana vidyate. Even though we may elevate ourselves to the highest planetary system, right, Brahmaloka, by the scientific advancement of knowledge or by the religious principles of life, great sacrifices, fruitive activities, at the time of dissolution, these higher planetary systems and life on them will be destroyed. So, I always say this too. It's sort of like, especially in America or Europe, in these countries that with the haves, we've had the best, right? We've also had a lot of pain. We've gone through suffering and loss of loved ones, maybe loss of, our homes or bankruptcy, or we've experienced great pain and great pleasure. From the highest planet to the lowest, they're all places of pain. Why? Because ultimately, even if you have everything, you got to give up everything, right? Even if you have everything, everything's just working out great. Guess what? There's a time bomb tucked under your shirt that you're not seeing. That's where the sobriety, this is where the Gita is the sobriety factor, the gravity factor comes into play.
Where we started the show, right?
It's where we start. It's full circle, brother.
Yeah.
It's full circle.
It's not morose, but it's like really looking at life, right? No matter how rosy this picture looks, at a certain time, and that time is not far away.
I know. That's the real tricky thing. It's not
Yeah.
far away.
Yeah.
You know, it's not far away at all. This is a very, very sobering time in my life right now, and probably maybe everybody's just applying the Bhagavatam to our life. We get very, very sobering. Here's Karuna. She's 8 years old. She's gonna be 18 soon. She's gonna be 28 soon. She's gonna be 38 soon. You know, I knew David Murray when he was like 12. He's on the show right now.
Now, if you say that to Karuna, it probably doesn't feel like that to her because she's only lived 8 years. You know,
I've only lived 8 years. It's
So
great.
8 years seems like a really long time. But by the time you get to our age, like 8 years was just like yesterday, 8 years ago.
I know, 8 years ago. Wasn't that like?
It's like nothing.
It seemed like 1990s were like 20 years ago, but they were 30 years ago.
Yeah. I think we're out of time, Raghu.
Oh man, Mara, you got some goodies for us? Give us some goodies, Mara.
Krishna is in the center of our wacky hijinks.
Ooh, you know, maybe the takeaway should be called goodies. Give us some goodies.
Sure.
Can we rebrand takeaways?
Let's sleep on that, Raghu.
Okay. Goodies.
Those who understand life let go of judgment.
That's right.
Yes.
And when you turn back and choose Krishna, it's all auspicious.
Let's turn that mic towards Mara. There, we got to get her a little closer in there.
When you turn back and choose Krishna, it's all auspicious.
That's right. You get out of the automated system.
Sense gratification throws off the spiritual GPS.
Oh man,
Lucky.
got to recalibrate.
Yeah. Regulate the senses and thoughts to get out of tamagun.
Rerouting.
Been waiting to say that.
Rerouting.
You say it like it's.
Sega said he met me 25 years ago. Where did time go?
Where did time go?
It's so funny because sometimes I'll meet some devotee like Braj Bihari. I was like, "How is your cute little kid?" He's like 40 or something like that.
He's doing things that are way more responsible and impressive than
He's
you
like a
right
colonel
now.
in the Marines.
Really?
With every choice, we're creating a new body.
That's
And
right.
no matter how rosy it looks, death isn't far away.
It's right on the doorstep.
Great note to end on.
Sobering note. Okay. Yeah, it's everybody's. It's everybody's. We all got that. Have a good day, everybody. After that little message, have a deep day, have a thoughtful day, but have a joyous day, because with all the temporality, underneath the temporality is my spiritual life, is my spiritual joy. And that actually because it's really easy just to look at this world as like, it's a crumbling world, it's a horrible world, it's a painful world. That's the flip side of everything is great. I've got a positive life. I got my positive goggles on. I got news for you. It is crumbling, but the deep thread behind it all is we are spiritual beings. We are meant to be joyful. Joy and happiness is our birthright, but we have to tap into real joy, not just the water park of joy, which isn't joy at all.
Smash
it's just
up derby of joy.
Smash up derby of fun. Like that could be a title of the show, the smash up derby of. You can't call a smash up derby joyous though. The smash up.
Is that
derby.
what they call it? A smash up derby? That's the right term I'm using. Smash up.
Oh wait, up here they call it the demolition derby.
Demolition derby. That's it. Yeah, demolition derby.
Demolition derby. Reminds me of my supercar fails that I follow on Instagram.
You see, what is it, Raghu?
Supercar fails.
Why?
It's interesting. It's interesting. You know why? Because people invest so much in these supercars, and then they do something stupid like peel out or just back up and just like destroy the whole thing. That's material existence.
I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Oh yeah, supercar fails.
I saw a supercar fail. I'll tell you about it another time, right now. But it was a supercar fail.